You got to do karaoke first.
I love a good ABBA karaoke. What are your thoughts and feelings on privatized space exploration?
Thoughts and feelings.
Or emotional outbursts?
Well, those we're good at, right? We're good at emotional
The rule
outbursts.
with NASA is we are not supposed to compete with something that industry can already do. We're using your taxpayer dollars to do stuff, and if industry can already do it and actually make a profit on it, we're not supposed to compete. So privatization is good. What people say and think that are in the private sector, we may not necessarily be impressed with it, but that's not our call. So if you think of what happens is NASA is supposed to develop a capability, we then turn it over to the private sector, who commercializes it to move our society forward. So if you think about it, NASA doesn't do weather satellites anymore, it doesn't do communication satellites anymore, it doesn't do GPS satellites anymore, it doesn't do still does remote sensing. Those have all gone commercial. We thought the next thing to go commercial was going to be material processing, making stuff in space. But it looks like the civilian entertainment tourism thing is really coming fast and furious on the outside. There will be hotels in space before 2030. I mean that. The thing that should scare you is, I'm going to do a little story here. You can make an analogy between the airplane and the space program. The first flight was the Wright brothers, 1907. First Gagarin in 63. The first fatality in an airplane was a military officer in a two-seat Wright brothers plane. The first fatality in space was a military officer. In the airplane, the US government goes, hey, this is important technology, I'm not sure what to do with it. Let's give it a made-up job to do stuff. They started having planes delivering mail. You had the Pony Express, but what's the planes do? The made-up job for space is go deliver stuff to the space station. You don't need people there, but you give them a made-up job. With the airplane, after you deliver mail, the guys are going, hey, if you put seats on this thing, we can make a mint. So they start putting seats on it. We're now seeing commercial tourists go up to space station. The kicker is, how far when you go commercial do you get your large amount of death? In the airplane, it was 1917, 17 people died. But by that point, it was making so much money, they just fixed it and kept going. If they had killed a bunch of people early on, it probably would have delayed the airplane 10, 20, 30 years. So the question is, as you commercialize space, how long does it go before you have your first large amount of death? Now, nobody in their business plan has killed 15 people. But if they go long enough without a fatality, then they'll just fix themselves and keep going. If there's an early fatality, it'll delay the exploration of space with humanity a good 15, 20 years. And that's the way to think about really what's going on. Wow, that was way too long and too serious.
I know. Should we leave them with